Somebody on TikTok randomly one day, they just left a comment on a video I'd posted of me singing that cover, and they were like, "This sounds like Bob Belcher." You can respond to the comment with a video, so I just posted a video of the band playing and the song, and that was like the first viral thing I had. It got like 1 million views.
Welcome to the new Bob's Credits series, my favorite episode, where we have a very special guest join us to discuss their absolute favorite episode of Bob's Burgers. And then, using a series of qualifications, we're all going to decide if the episode is in fact a top-tier Bob's Burgers episode. I'm Max.
And I'm Skylar.
And our guest today is the frontman for the goth rock alternative band that introduced us to the majesty that is Bobcore. It's Ross from Dead on a Sunday. Ross, we are so honored to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Before we even get into anything else, please explain to those out there who have no idea what Bobcore is, what it is, and how it came to light.
It is because apparently I sound like Bob Belcher when I sing certain songs, mostly cover songs, mostly this song called Damn It. It's a cover of Blink-182.
I'm going to put in a clip of that if you don't mind, just like right here, so everyone
please.
can hear just how much you do sound like Bob Belcher singing.
It took me like over a year to actually hear it. I was like, it doesn't sound like that. And then it took me a really long, just because I'm in my own thing. So it took a long time. And I was like, oh, I guess I kind of see it. Like finally I was like, I guess it does.
What does it is when you have his face on the screen and your voice singing, you're like, that is Bob Belcher.
Yeah, it sounds like H. John Benjamin. It's wild.
It's all right to tell me what you think about me.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't come up with this. Just somebody on TikTok randomly one day was like, they just left a comment on a video I'd posted of me singing that cover, and they were like, "This sounds like Bob Belcher." And I just like, you can respond to the comment with a video, so I just posted a video of the band playing and the song, and that was like the first viral thing I had. It got like 1 million views, and it attracted a lot of people to the project. I just randomly posted it one day. I was like on a subway in New York, and I saw it, and I was like, "Oh, that's funny."
Did you see like an uptick in your streams for Dead on a Sunday? Has this affected
immediately, like overnight?
I love
That's
that.
amazing. Because it's great music too. It's not like it was like a gimmick. But yeah, we've gone through and we've listened to so many of your songs, and I really enjoy it. So it's like, it's a bonus to have this thing that kind of like just brings a whole new audience to you and new ears to your music. And they have this incredible music to listen to on top of that. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good, like, people need entry points for things,
Sure.
And especially things that are originals. So, like, the covers are an entry point, and then the Bobcore things are a really strong one because, it's like the biggest TV show in America, so.
Okay, so speaking of Bob's, were you a fan of the show before this comment was left on your TikTok? Did you start watching it after? How did you come to know Bob's Burgers?
I'd seen several episodes. It's hard to not see it. It's everywhere. And
Yes.
So I'd seen it, and obviously I knew H. John Benjamin. I was a big fan of Archer, so I watched Archer a lot. And obviously I'm familiar with him from White Hot American Summer. He's in that, and so I was familiar with who he is as a voice actor. And then once the Bobcore thing happened, I started to pay more attention to Bob's Burgers. I haven't seen all of it, but I mean, it's huge. There's so many seasons where they're like 19 or something.
I wish.
It's in yeah.
We're in 15 right now.
15, okay.
Yeah.
We're hoping for 19.
I'm gonna take a wild guess, but I'll let you speak for yourself. Is there a particular character that you feel like you relate to beyond that you sound like Bob's Burgers? Bob Belcher.
Oh, well, I mean, it's Bob. He's like a 40-year-old dude that's like, he's kind of jaded, and yeah.
Exactly.
Same. That's why I always say he's my guy.
Yeah.
I want to say something in regards to this, but first we need to know, what episode did you pick? What is your favorite Bob's Burgers episode?
I picked this specific one because when the Bobcore thing took off, I saw Simon Chong had made an edit of Bob singing my song and put it on the internet, and he's the supervising director, as you know, of the show, and it was from the Vampire Disco Death Dance, which is season 11, episode 22.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the finale of season 11.
I was so glad that you picked Vampire Disco Death Dance because there's a lot of like fan favorite episodes, and this one gets a little hidden, but it's a perfect gem. And I thought it was really interesting that you're like, well, I love Bob, he's jaded, but this is like the most beautiful part of Bob. He is such a tender dad in this episode.
Yeah, he's taking his kid to see like a rated R film for the first time, and he's excited because it's something that he did as a youth, and he wants to like pass the baton.
I think I'm going to read us a synopsis for anyone who has forgotten what this episode is about, and then we can jump in. How does that sound, Max?
That sounds perfect to me. Let's do it.
Today we are covering Vampire Disco Death Dance. The day Bob Belcher has dreamt of since he became a father has finally come. He gets to introduce Tina to the campy, cult classic movie musical Vampire Disco Death Dance. With its sing-along, dress up, and throw stuff at the screen audience participation, it's a whole vibe. Tina, however, is distracted. With a chance at a real friend group, she invites the Wagstaff gang along to her father-daughter date. But Jimmy Jr., Zeke, Jocelyn, and Tammy are far more interested in playing drinking or not drinking. Meanwhile, a tiny table is dumped in the alley, so naturally, Linda decides to launch a restaurant for the raccoons.
I just have to say, first of all, that drinking or not drinking is easily the worst game I've ever heard of, but I will be playing it for the rest of my life. Like, I can't drink ever again without playing a round of it. At least, like, even by myself. I'm sure Skylar's going to get annoyed at me from now on whenever I have a cup with a straw in it, and I'm going to make her guess every single time.
I feel like it is so specific and captures how annoying middle schoolers are. I feel like this either happened to one of the writers or one of the writers' kids. And it's like, or a play on that. It just feels like, it feels so real. And I also love that Tina thinks it's stupid.
How do you even come up with a game like that? Like, who would have thought of that? Drinking or not drinking? Am I drinking? Am I not drinking?
It's just pure boredom, I guess. I also love just like when Bob gets excited about something, it is one of my favorite things in the show because we so rarely get to see him excited. He's usually kind of like the straight man. He's just running the restaurant. So whenever he gets like really excited to do something, I always feel like it's going to be a good episode.
Well, first I have to ask you, Ross, was Rocky Horror a thing that you did as a kid, or like does it feel familiar to you?
I mean, I know I've seen it. I know what it is.
But you wouldn't go with your friends.
No, we didn't do that.
Did you go, Max?
I don't think I ever actually went. I remember my friends around junior high school, a lot of people would go to like those like Saturday midnight showings.
Yeah.
So I don't think I ever made it to one.
When Tina's like seated there and Bob is putting on her makeup for her and he's so excited, it is one of the most beautiful moments of the show ever.
Should we run this through the top tier tests?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so the top tier test is going to be a collection of 12 questions. Most of them are yes or no questions, but based on how many of them we hit, it'll be top tier immediately, or we can argue for it to be in top tier. So it has to hit 10 to be top tier. If it hits 9, we can kind of like go back and forth and see if we can push it in there. So, first question is, does this episode make you feel all warm and fuzzy?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've talked about that already. Like,
yeah,
just anytime Bob gets excited and he brings one of the kids and he has bonding time with the kids, and the way the episode ends with him and Tina doing the shake your love parts dance, it's just perfection.
I like when Bob is disappointed that she wants to bring the friends because he's excited for them to just do it together.
Yes, it's like a knife in the heart. But then he's like dad of the year because he doesn't make her feel guilty about it. He's like, it's okay. I'll table my expectations. I loved that scene.
Yeah, and then she doesn't also, because then she's like doesn't care about what her friends are doing. She wants to be in there with Bob, and they're out, like playing their drinking game or whatever.
I think the easiest thing for the writers to do with this episode would have been to make Tina be like, "Ooh, Dad, I don't like what you like. This is stupid." But they didn't go that way, which was the right choice. And Tina was like really into it.
Yeah, I think that one easily gets a pass. The next question is, does this episode bypass rewatchability fatigue? So meaning, can you watch it over and over again without getting sick of it?
I watched it 3 times this week, that episode. So
yeah,
that's pretty good, honestly.
Yeah, we did the same, and we enjoyed it every single time. I don't think it got tiring to me at all.
I could watch it right now, if I'm being honest. Like when we're done, I could rewatch it, which is not the case. We were actually just talking to our neighbors because we've converted them to Bob's Burgers fans, and I don't know if you've seen the episode I Get a Psychic Out of You where Linda thinks she's psychic.
I think so.
Good. Linda is so annoying. I can't even watch it once. I have to turn it off. So
you know what, Skylar? I hate that you brought that up because now I'm gonna have to edit in Linda noises from that episode into this episode, and I'm very upset about it.
No, I only make the sound. You don't make the sound.
I'm sorry.
At least you get Dead on a Sunday music too
That's
to
true.
listen to. It'll
That's
even
true.
it out. So I'm gonna say yes, easy pass for me.
Yeah, definitely. The next question is, how is the JPM, which is jokes per minute?
I feel like it's not like the highest because there are so much more emotional cathartic moments, but like it's still stuffed. Like it's not lacking.
Yeah, now that I think about it, like I'm like, yeah, it's Bob's Burgers, so there's gonna be plenty of jokes, but I don't think it's as jam-packed as most episodes are because it's got so much heart in it.
And then you have to do like the music numbers, which are funny, but either way, I thought it was hilarious. I thought all the innuendo, they nailed like the campiness of the movie,
Yeah, what's the line that Bob's guy he dresses up as? He has one line in the movie. It's at the end. I can't remember it right now.
I knew I should have written this down.
The beauty is, I'm gonna put it in right here.
He's gonna put it right now.
We don't have to remember it. We can all be like, yeah, that's it. Yes, there it is.
I'm nightclub guy number 3. He only has one line, but everybody in the audience yells it at the screen.
What's his line?
It's right before he dies. He yells, "Disco to hell, vampires."
It's funny.
Great line.
It's perfect. I also love the costume design. Like Bob's outfit is perfection.
Yeah, the
Linda,
disco vampire bite. He has the goth makeup.
Yes.
Yeah, Linda and her costume making have once again saved the day. She's a talent. She's a talent.
Yep.
Okay, so do we agree that it's kind of low on the jokes per minute here?
Yeah.
I do too.
Okay, the next question is each character doing what that character does best?
See, Linda makes the raccoon dinner.
Enough said.
That's a definite yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Louise is entranced by the fire.
That's right.
Gene had one too many poop jokes for me.
You don't like everyone's in the room while Gene's pooping?
The joke when he's like,
Oh my God, you're pooping.
Oh, yeah, he is. What? That was the plan, and then everyone came in here.
it tickled me.
He does write the song for the raccoons.
We have his keyboard. Iconic Gene. Bob is too passionate about something.
Yeah. Even the side characters. I think every line that comes out of Jocelyn's mouth is perfect Jocelyn. Every line that comes out of Zeke's mouth is perfect Zeke.
When Zeke says,
My stepmom Cheryl lets me say ass and a couple other curses now. Hope that's cool with you.
hysterical to me.
Jocelyn screaming at the cars next to them and always screaming the least ridiculous thing you could scream at someone.
Oh my God, let's yell at those people in that car.
No, please don't.
Your car is blue. Drive.
But yeah, it's good. It's a very awkward moment.
And then Tina's always in a moral conflict. She always wants to do what's right. She is a little bit braver in not wanting to go along with her friends, in screaming at them in a public place, and that's my favorite Tina. While it's maybe not the most Tina move, it's my favorite version of Tina.
Yeah, I would say she's very Tina in this.
Yeah, I like when she's kind of feeling a little more mature than her friend. That's such like a specific age where some of us start maturing past a certain point and some of us like kind of hang on to being like kids and doing these stupid kid things. Tina always wants to be a little more mature than her siblings and then her friends too. So
Ross, did you relate to Tina in this episode?
I think Tina's pretty relatable in this episode, especially with it's very something my dad did with me. Like, my dad loved horror movies, so that's how I got into horror movies. It's very something he like, we got to watch this thing or that I did or watched when I was like your age, and he tries to like pass it down to me. Yeah.
I love that. So then when did you start getting into music? When did you find that passion?
I've been into music forever. I was like the first kid I knew that liked music. All my friends, they'd come over and I'd be like, you want to listen to like this, like Michael Jackson tape or this Iron Maiden tape? And they'd be like, you listen to music? That's for like old people. Like my parents listen to music. And most of my friends, they didn't really start listening to music till they were probably like 13 or 14. And I was listening to music. I was like 5. I saw Michael Jackson on like TV doing some thing, and like he had the white glove on. My parents were watching it, and I like had a white glove, and I remember it 'cause I ran into the room and I put this white glove on. My parents came in, they were like making fun of me, like, he thinks he's Michael Jackson. He's got a white glove.
One of the things they touch on in this episode is Bob is like, you might not always fit in with the kids at school, but I didn't either. I came to this show by myself as a 13-year-old, and I looked around and everyone was dressed up. Everyone was pretending to be someone else, and it's a sense of community. So I really Go
it's
ahead.
Very goth. I was just going to say that's so goth.
Tell me, I don't know that much about goth culture.
Well, it's kind of like the loner thing, and then, you kind of go somewhere that other people aren't into or anyone and then there's a bunch of people there that are dressed up the same as you, and there's like this whole community thing and that sort of thing that brings it together. And
I love that. And so, before Bobcore, how did you develop your persona on stage? Do you find yourself to be different? Or do you have something you wear? Or like, is it a character? I'm very curious.
I mean, I wear like face makeup, and that's fun because it allows you to be whoever you want to be, as opposed to, I've done shows where I didn't put face makeup on and it doesn't feel the same. It feels different. I'm not in like a bob apron the whole time. I just put it on at the end. Like whenever we do that song, I just put it on there and people like love that,
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
And so
people show up though dressed as all the characters all the time.
This is like a phenomenon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's wild.
That is so cool.
Do people come up to you now and say stuff similar to like what Bob experiences in this episode? They
do. We get some really like heavy Bob's Burgers fans, and then there's people that have never seen it, or got into it from this band even.
Oh, I love that. It works both ways.
Yeah, but it's wild how many people gravitated towards this like Bobcore thing, and they this is like one of the top selling things that we don't make this one anymore, but the Bobcore shirts are always sold out all the time.
It is interesting. Just because we run a Bob's Instagram and a Bob's podcast, and I do find that the community, they're all wonderful people. And in some part of their life have felt othered in a way that you have been talking about, maybe the goth community. So I can, like, just because something goes viral doesn't mean it has the impact that it has.
It's true.
And so there was just this synergy that happened. It was kismet. It's really neat.
It's been crazy. I have Bob tattooed on my body now, so.
Wow.
No way. That's amazing.
Yeah, he's on the back of my calf. Yeah, this one here.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've seen it on your Instagram. It's really great. Yeah. Sorry, I got us off track, Max.
No, that's okay. I love this conversation. I just have one more question. Although probably more for you, Ross, as we finish this up. But who's your biggest influence musically? I guess I want to say 1 as like a musician in general, and 2 for Dead on Sunday specifically.
Those are always a weird question because it's like people will want to say like their favorite artists are their influences, but I think people tend to overlook the stuff that they heard or were exposed to is in like formative years as a child growing up, and I think those things actually have a bigger impact on influence on an artist than what they're currently into. Like my favorite bands are probably like AFI, Typo Negative, stuff that's, it's goth rock. And I didn't intend for Dead on the Sunday to be goth rock. I wasn't even trying to do that. It just kind of happened that way and I just went with it. But, growing up, my mom listened to music a lot, and it was a lot of like new wave. I mean, obviously there was like Michael Jackson, which is like pop, but she would listen to like Blondie and The Cure and Pet Shop Boys and all those kinds of things. And that's where I think that this sort of like synthy 80s kind of undertone has crept into things that I do and like, because I was very exposed to that in formative years, like 3, 4, 5 years old when I was like starting to understand what music was.
And I have to say, like, I love your music, and part of it is like, it just hooks me in with the synth, and I can't speak on music. I don't know it very well, but and Max and I were talking because we've been rewatching The Americans, which is an all 80s soundtrack. And so we've been listening to these sounds a lot. And Max was saying, like, I feel like 80s music got, like, it's not true that it doesn't age well. It actually was phenomenal. So I love those influences in your music. It's very cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
And last question is, as a musician, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate Gene as a musician?
Gene's great. Gene's stuff feels very flow of consciousness writing, which is usually some of the best stuff comes that way. Like this song he does for the raccoons at their little raccoon dinner is like Gene jazz thing.
I'll try to calm them down with music.
Gee, that's making it worse.
Oh no, I made their fight funkier.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't like to be boxed in, for sure.
No,
He likes that freedom.
I think he's a misunderstood genius. Like, he will be the one that gets famous. And nobody understood him when he was a kid.
Now, that there's a band that people think sound like Gene, right? Do you know this?
No.
Okay, well, when we're done with this podcast, you guys can look up a band called La Dispute, and the singer sounds exactly like Gene.
I think I saw you in my sleep, darling. I think I saw you in my dreams. You were stitching up the seams on...
Okay, next question is, was the family together enough?
Well, they were all in the bathroom while Gene was on the toilet. That's probably enough.
That's a great point. If there's an episode where that family is crammed in that tiny bathroom together, it's usually just perfection.
I can think of 2 moments besides this one. We have turkey in a can when the turkeys keep getting in the toilet. Gail's in there too, but we also have the iconic Little Bob, Gene impersonating Bob with like the bald spot. Like, they're all in that bathroom. It's fantastic. So do you pass on that one, Max?
I do. I think that's a definite yes. Next question is, do the end credits give you that serotonin surge?
Absolutely.
This question is always hard because they typically do. Like, it's obviously our other podcast is all about the end credit sequences and the work they put into these end credits and the music, and it's hard not to leave feeling good.
Yeah, it's a great song. It's catchy. It has a good melody. I was singing it in the shower today. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Shake your love parts, bump it on the floor. Shake your love parts, shake it more and more.
And the dance that they're doing, and it's good.
I assume it's supposed to be like the Time Warp because they're doing a lot of like those weird like hip and knee dips and stuff that they do in the Time Warp dance. So
yeah, you have this song and they're in the kitchen credits and the song's great. It's great, it's original, and it's funny. And then I love when they kind of like zoom up into space past the disco ball. It's wonderful.
Yeah, and you get to see them dance with all the characters from the movie too. It's fun.
Yeah.
One thing we're going to have you do here as far as the end credits go is we actually haven't gotten to this episode on our main feed. And Skylar and I, on each episode, we rate the end credits. We haven't done that yet, but we're going to have you give these on a scale of 1 to 10 what you think the end credits are. And then when we get there, we're going to mention you on that episode, I'm sure. But
oh, cool. All right. Yeah. I mean, I love this end credits. I've seen several. So many are good. I think for me with this one, the song is really good. I think the melody is really catchy on this song. You can sing it in a lot of different styles, which I have already done. So, yeah.
This song, this particular one?
Yeah. Shake your love parts. That one. Yeah.
Is it on your Instagram?
No, I've just like done it at, just at home, just like, singing it in like jazz or new wave and like it has like a lounge kind of melody to it you could do. It's good. It's I think, I think good songs you can they can be covered across genres and it's still like a good song. So I think that this holds up to that. There was like another song I was messing with, a Bob song, and it was the Bad Things Happen in the Bathroom song.
Yeah.
And I felt that one didn't work as well across as many genre shifts as Shake Your Love Parts does.
Not to put you on the spot, but would you be willing to do a version of Shake Your Love Parts, one of the different genres that you came up with?
What's the lyric on Shake Your Love Parts? Bump it on the floor.
Yeah.
Shake your love parts, bump it on the floor. Shake your love parts. See, it could be like kind of loungy.
Man, I could have seen that in the end credits.
Yeah, it kind of already has that vibe a little bit.
Yeah.
They could have a rock singer do it too. It would have been really like good. Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Oh, shake your love parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should just do a whole episode of different genres of that song.
This is so fun talking about the credits with someone who knows music because we haven't done it before, and I'm always like, I think it's a good song, like I like it.
Yeah.
And Max knows a lot more about music, but this is really fun to talk about.
Oh yeah, you guys should get musicians on to talk about the credits at the end. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we've been going kind of like back and forth with some of the musicians that actually work on the end credits. We'd love to speak with some of them and just hear about the process, because I'm sure they just have a blast with those.
I feel like they also respect the music, even though it's joke music. They treat it with respect.
Yeah, I mean it's still catchy. It's still good.
Okay, next question is the quintessential weird factor of Bob's Burgers present?
Yeah, I would say so. Like, yeah, Bob's putting on like goth makeup and going to some movie he watched as a kid.
With like really crazy innuendo.
Yeah. And well, I mean, yeah, and Linda's making a raccoon dinner with a little table she's sourced in the alley.
It doesn't get more Bob's weird than that.
And drinking or not drinking is so weird. Just a weird game to be playing.
Yes.
Okay, next question. Would you recommend this specific episode to a friend who has never seen the show?
Yes.
1000%. Max, I think we should make our neighbors, they've been really tough to convert into Bob's Burgers fans. So in my head, it's like, would I recommend this to Mimi and Adam? And I would recommend this episode.
I love how you always say that we're working so hard to convert them. Like we're like grabbing them by their shirt collars every time we see them. Be like, you have to watch it.
Trying to get them to join a cult.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
slapping them with the back of our hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so too. It's such a fun episode, and especially if your friend happens to be into the Rocky Horror Picture Show for whatever reason, it's be like, go watch this. You'll love this episode.
So easy.
It'll get you. Yeah. Okay. Next question is: will this episode cure your seasonal depression?
I watched it this morning, and the weather here has been like in the single digits and snowy, so I don't feel depressed today.
Okay, we have a case study right there.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, it would. It would cure my seasonal depression.
Yeah, I think it does the trick too. And if you're still not feeling it at the end of the episode, I would recommend getting up and trying to do the Shake Your Love Parts dance. And if you are still depressed after that, then crank up the Lexapro, I think.
Yes.
That's what I'd have to do on my end for sure. Next question is: if you took the humor away, does the plot hold its own?
Absolutely. Yeah, this episode I don't think it leans on humor as much as it leans on just the wholesomeness of it.
Yeah, going back to how middle school can be a lonely time for a lot of us, the stakes are actually they're very high for both Bob and Tina. Tina is like, I think I might be finding a friend group that I can feel accepted in. And I think what's even more painful is that she actually doesn't feel seen in this friend group. It's not meshing, and it's like, am I ever going to find my people? It's very real, and especially at that age. And then Bob is thinking about passing on his legacy and watching his daughter grow up.
Then I would say that in the B story, Linda's just trying to feed some hungry animals. That's all. There's nothing funny about that. She's just trying to make sure that there's animals out there starving. We have to feed them.
I think the A story, which is, this skeleton and the structure of the story definitely works.
I think the deeper you get into Bob's as the show goes on, they really do lead from plot or from character and not as much. And the jokes come in to support it, but it's really you can pull out the humor and it's just really good stories.
Yeah.
Well, okay. This question is an easy one. Was a song from the episode stuck in your head afterwards?
There we go, yeah.
Yep.
You proved it.
I think we answered that. I'm looking at this, by the way. We're coming up to the last question. I don't think we're going to have to argue. But the last question is, does at least part of the episode take place in the restaurant?
It does.
At the end.
But yeah, and also the very opening.
Oh, an opening, yeah.
Right? Yeah, Linda, the episode opens with Linda singing about not having any customers.
Where are all the people who want to buy some food? Not here.
I was thinking about the restaurant question as we were watching it, and they're not in it a lot, but I don't know why I get all the feels when Linda is in the kitchen making homemade spaghetti sauce with the kids for the raccoons. I just love seeing them in their apartment. The apartment feels like an extension of the restaurant to me sometimes. I think people get confused why this is a question, but there are whole episodes where we don't see either the apartment or the restaurant, and I miss it. I'm like, no, I want to go to the home base. That's where the nostalgia is. It's our comfort. So yeah, lots of apartment, one stuffed bathroom for sure, and the restaurant.
Yeah, and the alley.
And the
right,
alley.
it does open in the restaurant because then they're in the alley throwing the garbage out, and that's where she comes up with the raccoon party.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I am going through these, and it looks like Vampire Disco Death Dance is a top-tier Bob's Burgers episode. This is something to be celebrated on this podcast. Actually, I think we've only had one so far that did not pass the test. Is that right, Skylar?
Yeah, it's super depressing being no, sorry to this guest.
Yeah, it's sad when we have a guest on and we're like, oh, by the way,
it did not pass.
It did not pass the test.
I mean, it would be sad if this being a season finale wouldn't pass the test.
That's a good point. Yeah, season finales are usually pretty strong on this show.
Bob's does season finales so well. Yeah, and I'm going to state it here to live on the internet forever. I think this might be one of the most underrated Bob's Burgers episodes.
Yeah, I agree. When you recommended it, Ross, I had kind of forgotten about the episode. It's been a long time since we've seen it, and it was such a good episode and so much fun, and it's become one of my favorites, honestly.
Glad I could bring some light to it.
So that'll do it for the episode. Thank you, Ross, for joining us. Everyone watching this, go check out Dead on a Sunday. Go check out some of the videos on YouTube. Check out some of Ross's live performances. Ross, where can people follow you? What's the best way to follow you if they want to know about your shows, about, releases, where they can stream?
Anything Dead on a Sunday. We'll be on tour. We'll be on a mini tour this spring. It's not announced yet. And then we'll be on a full U.S. tour in the fall. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, I'll be around.
Thank you for spending the afternoon with us.
Thanks for having me.
And for everyone else watching, if you want more of us, you can go check out Bob's credits over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. All right, we'll see you all for the next episode.